I'm with David Hallett from Archicentre. Now, David, you guys are the experts for people getting inspections before they buy or renovate or build. Why is it so important to get a pre-purchase inspection done?
Well, we live in a buyer beware market, Des. It's important as property purchasers to inform yourself about the condition of the building before you go shelling out your hard-earned dollars on it.
And what are the big things that you guys are looking for?
Look, there's a handful of things that worry us a lot. Structural faults, of course, would concern us, and we'd want to tell our clients about those if they were present on the property. Termites, electrical problems, and illegal building is another one we're very keen to tell our clients about if we find it on the property.
It seems ludicrous when the median house price, 600 grand in Melbourne, people are spending that amount of money, but they won't shell out $500 to make sure what they're buying is sound.
Well, it is a risk, there's no question about that. It's not unknown for vendors to conceal building faults from the market, and of course you don't want to purchase a property that ends up needing tens of thousands of dollars worth of repair work spent on it.
I guess it's a bit of a bargaining tool too for the buyer, because they can say, well, here are some problems we've found, we want to pay this much.
Yeah, if we can find any problems on the property and give you that information, then you can use that in your negotiation with the agent on behalf of the vendor.
All right, David, let's put you to work. Let's have a look at this place.
Let's go.
A fairly typical house for you guys?
Yes, very typical of the sort of homes that were built all over the middle suburbs after the war. Great bones, and if they've been well maintained, they're a really good home.
Always something though we can find.
Always something.
All right, David, we've already found a small problem. What is it?
We'd be worried about this downpipe, Des. It's not connected to the storm water system, as you can see. And of course, when it rains, a lot of roof water is going to be discharging straight onto the ground. Now, not a serious problem on this property because of the fall of the land, but we've seen a number of properties where it's going straight underneath the house.
All right. Anything else here?
Yeah, we'd also be worried about this timber cleat. You can see that a timber cleat's been fitted to the concrete stump when the stumps were replaced in order for these plinth boards to be nailed in. Now that cleat is disappearing straight into the ground, which is providing a fantastic opportunity for termites to come up from the ground into the structure of the building.
Termites, enough to strike fear into the heart of any homeowner.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what do you do with that? You've got to take those off?
Well, ideally you'd be looking to move some of the ground away from this lower plinth board and stop that being in contact with the ground. You'd also be looking to cut this cleat off just above ground level to make a break between ground and the building.
They can't jump?
They can't jump. They're a subterranean species. They create tunnels.
Little buggers. All right, David, out the front of the house, and everything looks okay, but there is a bit of a bow in this the fence. Yes,
there's a bow in the fence, and we'd be concerned about that. The tree at the moment is pushing on it, but also the ground has been built up behind the fence, so it's asking the fence to act as a retaining wall as well as a fence, which it hasn't been designed to do. We'd be concerned about it, and we'd be recommending that it be scheduled for, if not maintenance, then replacement at some time in the future.
And no crack in it, so obviously it's not imminently going to fall over?
No, it's in reasonable enough nick at the moment, and the bow is quite localised here, but it's not going to get any better.
Beautiful. David, obviously electric's always very important, house fires and things like that. How are we looking here?
Well, we're looking pretty good here, Des. We would always look inside a switchboard, of course, to see whether the old fuse box, the original fuse box, has been upgraded at all, and in this case it has been. Safety switches have been fitted to the property, which is good news for the buyer. If they hadn't have been, they'd be looking at several $100s as a minimum to get a safety switch fitted.
And also, you've noticed up the top there, a re-stumping certificate.
Yeah, interesting. A certificate to indicate that the re-stumping that was done on the property was done in 1994, so 17 years old. Not cause for concern by any means, but interesting bit of information.
Good that it's there too. Handy.
Good that it's there, absolutely.
All right, David, it's not just the houses that you inspect. We're also out in the garage now, and what are we looking at up here?
Look, it's a great big garage, but there are some water leaking problems. You can see staining up there on the timber. You can also see where water's run down the walls. That's going to be a problem if the garage is retained for storage. But of course, if it's being demolished as part of a renovation plan, then you wouldn't worry about spending any money up there. Well, we're here in the bathroom now. There's no serious problems. Probably could do with a bit of a makeover, so that's going to be part of the renovation plan, obviously. But we have noticed that there's some sealant missing from the bottom of this panelling where it butts down to the bath here, and we'd be concerned about moisture getting in and over the lip of the bath and starting to rot out the studs in the wall and potentially the floor structure below as well. So we'd be recommending some sealant be put in there pretty quickly.
David, this is a lovely big bright kitchen and obviously floorboards throughout. Now that's the big fear for a lot of buyers, stump problems or stumping problems.
Look, it is. We're finding stumping problems in a lot of the homes we inspect. This one's not too bad. We know it's been re-stumped, and I think they've taken the opportunity to re-level it at the same time, which is always good. But any sign of bounce, unevenness, creaking is usually an indication that there's a problem with the subfloor framing, with the stumps, and it's going to entail some thousands of dollars usually to fix.
And no visible cracking, which has been a huge problem in Melbourne because of the dry conditions for the last decade or so.
It has been, Des. We're finding cracking in about 40% of the homes we look at, and the key, of course, is to know what you're looking at. Is it just a bit of shrinkage or settlement cracking, in which case not cause for too much concern, or is it something a bit more significant which might require some structural repairs?
Thanks, David. Well, there you have it. A lot of things you can pick up in an inspection before you buy a house. You'd be mad not to get one done. If you'd like to know more, why not go to melbournepropertytv.com and we'll point you in the right direction. Thanks very much, David.
No worries, Des.